Yeah, welcome to the design thinking mindset class. Uh, we already discussed in the previous classes about the introductory concepts of design thinking. From our earlier discussions, we know pretty well that design thinking is a way of creative and practical approach using cognitive skills to solve a complicated problems or a much unstructured problems in a systematic way. But for a design thinking practitioner, the mindset matters the most. So, what is the mindset? Mindset means the way we look at the things, the way we approach the situation. So, here we will try to understand the basics of design thinking mindset characteristics. First, a design thinker should have empathy. Empathy, you all aware, empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is stepping into the shoes of others and understanding the problem from the other's point of view. So, suppose if a design thinker's mindset is having more empathy, automatically he will step into the context of the user or the customer, whatever may be the case, and he tries to understand from the receiver's point of view. So that that will add a lot of value in product design, product development, and even product delivery also. So the first and foremost trait for any design thinking mindset is empathy. The second thing is optimism. Uh, the design thinker must have the optimistic approach because he is having a mentality called he should look after, he look forward actually, he look forward for the solution instead of it is a challenge. So optimistic view of solving a problem is very much required for the mindset of the design thinker. As in the earlier we discussed about the multidimensional problems or unstructured problems or human-centered problems has to be solved with the optimistic view. The other characteristic of the design thinking mindset is embrace ambiguity. Embrace ambiguity is a very wonderful trait or a characteristic which is very much needed. Why? Because the future is very uncertain. And the future is very ambiguous. And nobody can predict the future with certainty. So, in that sense, any organization or any institution, or in fact, any individual must have the trait called embracing the ambiguity. So, then only it thrives in the future. So, next one is make it happen, make it mindset. That means what? You should approach a problem thinking that it is going to be solved, it is going to be happen. So in that sense, this is also relating with optimistic view. And we see the solution based on the insights taken from the field or the users, so that users' participation is also high. Indirectly, we are designing the product with the help of the user. So we are talking about co-designing. So in that sense, we take the insights, ideas from the grassroots so that it will help us to solve the problems in an easy manner. And another important trait a design thinking mindset should have is learn from the failures. Learn from the mistakes is one of the important characteristic of a design thinker, because failures are costly. Failures are costly at the later stage, but early stages you should fail fast. You should fail fast, and you should learn from the failures. If you learn from the failures, not only from your own failures but also from others' failures, it will be very useful. So the important issue here I would like to emphasize is you can learn, or you should learn from the failures of others, or failures from other organizations, or failures from your own self. The next important trait is iteration. Iterate. What does it mean? As we are approaching a very crucial or complicated or wicked or very confusing problem, we don't get solution at one shot. So in that sense, slowly we should break down the problem into pieces and slowly in an iterative process, stepwise, you should approach. Then from iteration 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, a more feasible solution we are approaching. So just like a mathematician solving a complex equation, he will follow the iteration method. So equation 1 is very confusing, but equation 2 is slightly better. 3, 4, 5, 6, he will improve. Ultimately, the solution will arise. At the last point I would like to discuss here is in the mindset is creative confidence. That means you should approach the problem creatively. You should approach the problem in a innovative manner. Sometimes we call it as think out of the box, and you should also think that there is no box at all. So a design thinker should think there is no box, and he should think about non-obvious solutions, and the alternatives which were not discussed earlier must be approached. And you should also approach many different problem solutions at a time. Then that will help to solve the problem in a better way. So there is a slight difference between traditional thinking and design thinking. Traditional thinking is about what? Traditional thinking is about avoiding failures. But design thinking concept fail fast. You do as many mistakes as possible initially. Then you can learn lessons. So nowadays it is like a startup culture. Even some funding agencies, they give funding for those who fail fast and understand from their past failures. So that is very important distinction between traditional thinking and design thinking. And normally, in the traditional thinking, the management or the manager or the service provider is interested in giving the right answers. But today, if you want to have a designer mindset, you should ask the right questions. Ask the right questions to the user, and user will explain the problem in his or her own way so that you will understand the problem in a better way. So better try to practice asking the right questions. Then it will solve majority of the problems. Then instead of simply telling, show them the prototype, show them the model, show them the solution. People will believe those who are implementing, not simply telling. So walk the talk. You just speak less words, but show the results. Then people will come and support you. And the other thing is, in the traditional thinking, the expert will have a subject expert. But a design thinker is more of process expert. Process is more important than the end product. If the process you set properly, the end product will automatically be improved. So the point here is design thinking organizations, those who are practicing design thinking concept, they will build the good right processes. And thinking and planning plays a very important role in traditional thinking, but whereas in design thinking, doing it in a practically is more important. At the same time, in the traditional thinking concept, we used to say something about passive experience. That means sitting in the R&D department, sitting in the AC rooms, or sitting at the headquarters, people will think about the hinterland problems or the grassroots level problems. They may not actively associated with the problem context. So you should have an active experience, go to the field, you shadow exactly how the user is applying the product or why you need that product. If you think on those directions, there is a further scope for further improvement. And as I said already, don't think outside the box, think like there is no box. So in that sense, you will get better and better ideas and more ideas. More ideas leads to more perspective will give more innovation may result in better value creation. So this is how design thinking concept will help a lot in creating an atmosphere where everybody wants to learn by doing mistakes, learn by asking the right questions, learn by having the attitude to solve the problems instead of seeing the problem as a challenge. And ultimately, if you see, obviously, some organizations still people are not coming out of the box. So jovially, if you see the screen, there is a cartoon I'm presenting. When I asked you to think outside the box, I forgot to ask you to think inside this box. That means most of the managers are not encouraging thinking outside the box approach by their teammates, but actually, if the organization has to survive in the long run, they have to invariably should go and think that there is no box at all. Okay. Ultimately, Paul Rand, one of the proponent of design thinking concept, is talking about the designer does not begin with the some preconceived ideas. Actually, the preconceived ideas will hinder the progress. So rather, the idea is the result of careful study and observation and the design of a product of that idea. That means you should observe the market, you should go to the field, understand how the user is facing the challenge, then try to get some insights, then design a product and get the idea. So that is the better way of leading towards a better solution. Finally, design thinking is the search for what? A magical balance between business and art. So design thinking is neither business nor art. It's a combination of both. Because business should get profit and customer should get the desirable result. And the structure and chaos, you should not be too systematic in the structure oriented, but at the same time, you should not be very open. So you should balance these two. At the same time, you can depend on your gut feeling or intuition. At the same time, you should also use logic. And you should also balance between the conception and execution. Most of the organizations, they conceive well, but while executing, they fail. So there must be some proper balance. And playfulness and formality. Playfulness means in a jovial atmosphere, you should encourage the creativity, but at the same time, you should also have some formal structures to get the things done in a fast manner. And finally, you should also have a balance between control and empowerment. How much control I should exert on my teammates or colleagues or maybe subordinates or whatever. At the same time, how much they must be empowered to take a decentralized decision. So this kind of balancing act is very much required for a proper design thinking mindset. With this, we will conclude here. Design thinking is a very important, innovative, creative problem-solving approach, and it is field-oriented. It is ideas will be taken from the ground level, and ideas will be converted to insights. Insights will be developed in the form of products and services. So ultimately, with all this, much more user experience or much more acceptable norms from the customer's point of view is to be delivered. With this, I wish you good luck and thanks for attending this class.